Hello, what's up guys, welcome to the 18th tutorial in the series. Here's the 18th video. So we have about 3 or 4 videos left to the end of this series. So today we're going to be talking about Python modules, that's the .py files. So now let's get into it. Okay, as you can see, I created a folder already with name modules and then created 2 empty files. So we're going to be opening this. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to be opening this. That's okay. Wow. So now here I have a function already. We've done function, so you should pretty much understand this already. So in this function now, so why do we need Python modules? First, before we get into Python modules or pure files, so why do we really need Python modules? So for example, let's imagine you've written about 10,000 lines of code. You've written a lot. So imagine an error occurred. You don't have to start searching for which line, scrolling down 10,000 lines and looking for the exceptions or the errors, the runtime errors, which sometimes can be pretty difficult to even look for in short about 100 lines of code if you don't really know how to track bugs. Okay, so with Python modules, the .py files, it makes it easy. So when you have separate parts of your code in different places, it can be easy to track bugs and then get whatever component of whatever function you need or classes or whatsoever. So why do we need modules? Essentially, one, maintainability of code, to be able to maintain different aspects of your code and help separate different components of your code. For example, you have this part of your code, let's assume this is front end and back end, for example. Then you have your front end in one part, your back end in one part, and imagine you have a game, you have your GUI code in one part, and then your main code that handles the logical access in one part. So Python modules help with that, and as well reusability. You can use these modules anywhere. If you want to use the same logic for another game, you can just pick the file and then use it again. So now let's get into how this actually and really works. So we're gonna run this code and just see. Okay, so we're gonna run this. Okay. So actually I'm gonna be returning, this isn't supposed to be there, so I'm going to be returning the argument, whatever you pass to it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna copy this function and paste it here. Okay, well anyway, so let's get into the code. We're gonna call full with hello, then we're gonna run it. Of course, normally we would need to print a return, but since this is the ideally, it knows what to do. Okay, before we move on to using modules and these files like this in Python, what about modules? We also have the beauty modules. We have beauty modules as well. So these beauty modules are the modules that have been built into Python already, so we can use it for various things. So we have modules that we can use for GUI, we have modules we can use for math, we have modules we can use for doing separate things and different things entirely. So before we move on to using or creating your modules, we're going to talk about these beauty modules. So before you can use a module, the first thing you want to do is to import it. Okay, so you import the module before you can use it, and the way you import it is by using what we call the import statement. So let me show you how we work with beauty modules. So these beauty modules has been somehow linked together with your Python. When you install Python, has somehow linked together with your system, so it's easy for your code to find it. I don't want to go into too complex things and start talking about parts so you don't get confused. So the way you import it is by doing import and then the name of the module. I just want to try to keep this as simple as possible because it can really get complicated. Okay, when you import your module, so don't get me wrong, when I say complicated, I don't mean this is complicated. It's just that as you have the surface, you can also go as zip as possible. Okay, so import, when you import, you do this import and then the name of the module you want to import. So this is a very simple way. This is a very simple way of how you import modules in Python. Okay, cool. So how do you make use of it? Now this module has different components in it. So this module is simply a Python file, a math.py file that already exists that someone else has created. So the way you do it is it has various functions, just like you create functions in your own code. And you might be wondering, how do I get to use it and get the different functions it has? So the one way you can do it is by using the dot function I taught you and talked about. So all you have to do is just put it in here and then you run it. So when you run it, you see it gives you a lot of things. Here you have the tan, the square root of a number. You can check the nan, um what other thing? I think you have factorial. Yeah, you can check factorial, exon, gamma, and so on and so on and so forth. So let's make use of it now. We're gonna print math dot, let's do something we know is right, the square root. Okay, the square root. Then we're gonna give it 36. So we're gonna save around that. Okay, see, it gives us 6.0. So this is a function that exists in this Python, um this Python module, rather the math module. You can also do the factorial, you save it and then you run it. As you can see, this is a factorial of 36. Let's see the factorial of 3. Okay, so that should be 6. Factorial of 4, that should be 12, I think. Okay, 24 rather, so that's times 2. I didn't do it times 2. Okay, so that's it with beauty modules. We also have the random one, random module, random. So yeah, we're gonna do print random dot randint. So this is a function. What this function does is you give it a range of number you want it to generate a number from. So we're gonna do, from, we want to generate a number number between 1 and 1,000. So save and run it. So 400. Note, and your this code is not gonna give you the same result every time because it actually generates random really. So when I run it again, you see 707. When I run it again, you see 961, 561. So the chance that it's going to give you same number is low because this is a high range, but it might give you, since it's guessing and then picking numbers are random. Okay, cool. So that's those are, so there are a lot of other beauty modules. So if you are wondering how do you get to know what these modules are, am I a magician to just guess, oh, we will have this module and then pick it? Of course, we don't have modules for everything. So to be able to do this, I'm going to put a link in the description down below where you can check all the beauty modules you have in Python. Of course, you have it in the Python documentation as well. Okay, it should be I think manuals, or is it docs? Okay, so I'm just gonna find it and then I'm just gonna show you, and I'm gonna locate it and then show you how to find it. Okay, so we have it here, Python standard library. Under Python standard library, here we can check under numeric and math. So you see we have the math here, the math modules. As you can see, numerical and math, mathematical modules. So you see math, what you can do with math.c and so on. You also see random here, random. You can do a lot with it actually. Random sample. If you don't understand this, you can search it on Google. There are more clear explanations, or you can ask it down below in the comment section. I'll make sure I do answer it. Okay, so you also have let me see something simple. Let's close this. You also I just want to find something simple. Okay, so anyways, you get the point. No need to waste time on this. So yeah, a lot of modules you can check. Of course, if you come up here to the beginning, you see where we have improved modules, because they update this every time. Math has been improved as well. So that's it for this video. Oh, sorry, that's not it. So now we're gonna talk about our own modules. Okay, so the same way we did with these ones is the same way we did with our own modules in Python. So how do we do it? Basically, all we do is we import and then the name of our mode, which is tutu. But note, we can't import from anywhere. So if you have your file, this is where in desktop tutorial modules T1. So let me open a folder. This is it here. You can only import from this particular folder. So those ones you see is because they are beauty modules in Python and they are already in some kind of a part already where Python checks for it. So if you'll be doing our own modules, we have to put it in the same directory with our file where we want to use it. So we're going to do import t2, and then let me open t2 over here. Okay, we're going to open it with the IDL as well, and as you can see we have something here already, bar. We have another function here called bar here. So what this bar does is, in this bar we just give it an expression here and then it calculates it, more like math or something like that. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do print t2 and then I'm gonna pass a string with 2, 3 plus 4. I don't know if I've talked about the ever function. Okay, so we're gonna run this and see. type error, module object is not callable. Oh, sorry about that. As I told you, when you call the module, then you use dots and the name of the function. My bad. Okay, so just the same way we did maths.factorial. Factorial is like a function, as I said earlier as well. So t2 is the name of the module, then t2.bar, which is the name of the function, and then we call it. Okay, so we get our answer, which is 7. 3 plus 7, can change it. So the eval function basically evaluates any string. So just evaluate the values, whatever value you give it. If you give it arithmetic value 2 times 3 so or whatever like that, it evaluates it for you like normal math. So that's what it does. You can do change it to times and then you should run it. Funny enough, I didn't even bother to test the code before the tutorial. Okay, so that's